Hey guys, welcome back to Double D in the Morning. This is Double D in the Sunday Morning, episode 30. How not to care what people think, part 26. How to prove them wrong and say to them, look at me now. And this is about company history and people. You may be thinking, why is Nintendo on this list? But they were founded as a trading card company in 1889. And were seen as a diamond in the rough when they brought back the video game industry single-handedly in the 80s, but they did it. It all started out in 1983 in Japan, in the Eastern Hemisphere, when Shiromi Demoto brought back the video game industry in Japan with the Famicom. The Nintendo Famicom brought it back in a big way, and 2 years later they brought it back to America with the NES. It was Miyamoto that had the idea to redesign it and make it look like a VCR. Their first breakout hit for the American version of the Nintendo, the NES, came out in '85 as a launch game, Super Mario Bros. It was a sequel to their original arcade game Mario Bros. And then in '86, the very next year, their second biggest franchise that they've ever made was The Legends of Zelda. After their '85 and '86 video game releases and console releases in America, they were quick to show that Nintendo was nothing to be laughed at. The Xbox formally came out on November 15th, 2001, and was announced May of that year at E3, and believe it or not, was laughed at. But they were persistent and became one of the best consoles of the 21st century. Halo was one of their best releases, and Forza Motorsport was one of their best franchises also. Microsoft and Xbox both have had hiccups, but they proved that they're a force to be reckoned with, and they're not going to listen to their critics. Well, that they didn't, because they do listen to fan criticism. Halo 2 and Forza Motorsport franchises were the top-selling games of the original Xbox. This is Wilma Rudolph, one of the fastest, not just black people, but runners that the American team has ever seen. She was diagnosed with polio as a child and overcame her polio and proved people wrong because she was a disabled person with a disabling disease but became a runner. She won 3 different medals in the Olympics in 56 and 60. 1 bronze and 2 gold. This is not me, but I was a disabled NICU preemie for 3 months and lived through it. This is a symbolism of all the NICU preemie babies and myself. So as far as what this picture is implying, it is me, but it's not a picture of me. Getting to the point, I was in the NICU like this baby for 3 months, and I lived, and I survived, and I'm still surviving. I was 11th in my graduating class. I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying, as a disabled person, we have proved people wrong. We can do so many different things. Don't live up to the stigmatism if you're disabled, that just because you're that way, well, you're not going to amount to anything. You can do. Just look at Xbox and look at Nintendo and look at Wilma Rudolph. You can do. Don't let a limitation make you feel limited about yourself, because you can do. You can do anything you want to do. You need to say that to yourself, that I'm going to prove people wrong. And then you could be able to say, look at me now, because you can do it, no matter what people think. And just because when you go somewhere you have to use an ADA parking permit doesn't mean you're any less special. You can do anything you set your mind to. Disabled can be just like the other things that I mentioned. Wilma Rudolph, the Xbox and the Nintendo company, and that disabled baby. Picture. Don't let your limitations limit you, because they're not limitations. They're just what your life is. You're not limited just because you're different. Your difference is what makes you special. So stand up and prove people wrong and say, look at me now. That's it for this video. Join me next Sunday for Double D in the Sunday Morning. Don't have any limitations or limits for yourself, because you can do anything. And if you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and hit the notification bell to Double D in the Morning. And follow me on my Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, and TikTok. And my Facebook fan group, Drew's YouTube fan group.